Look after the bar, will you?
Since when has Der Adler been your favourite magazine?
Since it came out this morning. Oboe, the RAF's latest navigational device. How accurate it is, what the range is, and how it works. And how the Terror flyers have got a nasty surprise coming to them because the Germans have worked out countermeasures.
Flight Lieutenant Rumsey?
He sang like a bird.
You can't be sure of that. We heard later that his pilot had survived and was a prisoner.
This gives a detailed account of how it's operated in the plane. That's done by the navigator. The pilot would have a general knowledge, but not that much detail. And of course, Rumsey.
Well, perhaps they tortured him.
Natalie saw him with Brandt at the station. They didn't torture him. They made him feel good, behaved like Dutch uncles, and sat back and listened.
Victor must have been betrayed. They'd never have got him otherwise.
And as a result, there's an RAF secret splashed all over a German magazine.
We've got to find out who gave him away.
How? You don't know where he found Rumsey, where he was hiding anything?
Yes, I agree.
What then?
What then is our concern, Mr. Curtis, not yours.
It is my concern. I've just contacted London. They're sending in an agent as soon as possible.
Wie lange dauert das, bevor Sie fertig sind? Halt! Halt oder wir schießen!
He didn't show up at the rendezvous. I waited for hours, long after I should have done.
London have confirmed that Michael was dropped last night, as arranged.
And he won't need that now. I'm certain the Germans got him.
How can you be so sure?
Well, I thought I'd have a drive round, know roughly where the dropping zone was, in case he'd been hurt when he landed, you know. There was a barge tied up for the night along the canal, and the bargee told me that he'd been woken by shots at 4 in the morning.
That area's as safe as anyone can be. No German units for miles.
No, this German convoy came by and one of the lorries had broken down. It was sheer bad luck. It was a chance in 1,000.
Either that, or they knew he was coming and were waiting for him.
How could they know that?
And soon after dawn, the German ambulance arrived and, well, the bargee heard them talking about a parachutist.
Well, let's hope he can keep his mouth shut. If he's still alive.
He's an experienced agent. They know the risks in the SOE. He won't talk.
The Gestapo know their business.
So we must still find out who betrayed Victor and Flight Lieutenant Rumsey.
Tell your people to send another man.
Having just lost one highly trained agent, they're not going to be that keen on sending another one. Men like Michael are just as valuable as your guides. At best, there'd be a long delay.
So we do nothing, is that it?
No, we deal with it ourselves.
How?
One of us.
Who?
Well, I can't pretend that I shall enjoy it, but I think it's my job.
Oh? Why is that?
It happened near Tours, for which I have the best cover, but mainly because Flight Lieutenant Rumsey made a mistake in the first place. That makes it an RAF responsibility.
Finding out who the traitor is, that's only the first step.
I know what has to be done.
Perhaps, but I wonder if you're the right man to do it.
Look, Natalie's going to see Victor's widow on her way back from the south. I think we should wait. See if she finds out anything.
Madame Victor,
Yes,
that must be hard work.
a tip of mine it is. It has to be done.
Some people that your husband used to work for have asked me to give you this.
Why? What people? Customers of his, you mean?
Take it, please. Things must be difficult for you now, and it'll help you to manage.
Oh, that's very generous. I'm in no position to refuse. Victor was a good craftsman. He left nothing. Even his motorbike's only used to sold iron, rusting in a ditch. Why did the Germans shoot my Victor?
You know of no reason yourself.
There was no reason. He did his work. He kept himself to himself. A mistake. That's what the inspector said.
The inspector?
Inspector Dubois. Sitting out there in the square now. Very sympathetic man, I'll say that for him, in spite of being a policeman. Came and paid me for that fence Victor mended for him. He didn't have to. I'd never have known. Victor being dead. Is that what this is for? Extra work?
Yes, it's owing. Is that why Victor came here, to mend the inspector's fence?
No. Suddenly took it into his head to go and mend Miss Shimura's barn. God knows why. Kept him waiting months. If only he'd been alive now.
Yes. Madame, there's still money outstanding. Later on, someone will bring you some more. Well, not me, I don't suppose. Someone else.
Well, if there's money owing, you didn't say who you were.
I was just asked to bring it, that's all. But a lot of people were very fond of Victor. He was a good man. Goodbye, madame.
Oh, my turn, I think.
Ours go soon.
Well, please, give my regards to your wife.
Yes.
She's got over the unpleasant shock, I hope.
To be honest, not really, no. I'm sorry I haven't been able to invite you home since it happened, but...
She holds me responsible. Well, my shoulders are broad.
It's very unfair, really. I'm desperately sorry. But if she knew the truth...
You. The man who fired the shot that killed Victor was a German soldier who was later charged for disobeying orders. No one else is to blame. Not me, not you, no one. Now, that's the truth, my friend.
That's too simple, I'm afraid.
Well, I'm a simple man. My job you've got to be. I do my duty and I uphold the law until some fool changes it. Right and wrong, I leave that to the philosophers. So should you. Now you finish your book. That's your job.
Oh, perhaps I'll have one more, why not? Is it my turn or yours? I'm sorry. I got talking, I didn't notice the time.
That's all right. I guessed what had happened. Have you eaten?
Some bread and cheese.
Well, there's some cold meat. I'll get it.
Oh, I don't know, perhaps later.
Oh, well, I was thinking of having an early night. Would you, Seaton?
Yes, of course. I enjoyed myself this evening. Just sitting talking was like old times.
That's good. I'm glad.
I may try and do a little work tonight. Somehow I feel like it.
All right. Well, you won't disturb me. I'm rather tired.
Now, I was thinking. We haven't had any friends to dinner for ages. Why don't we? Perhaps next week.
I'd rather not, if you don't mind.
We always used to entertain occasionally. People think it's strange.
What people? Inspector Dubois?
Look, Dorothy, I feel as badly about it as you do. Probably worse. But it happened. Cutting herself off won't bring old Victor back to life.
No, but I can't pretend it didn't happen either. You can see your friends at the cafe. They don't have to come here. I'll leave you to your work. Good night.
Good night, my dear.
How do we know we can trust him? How can we be sure?
But the German convoy could have been there by chance.
Yeah, they could have been tipped off. The only person who knew who isn't one of us was Curtis. Do we suspect each other?
Why should he?
Who knows? To protect the traitor, perhaps.
You say he wants to go and do the job himself?
Yes. And suppose he comes back and says the culprit was Charlie Chaplin. Should we know any better?
Only if Charlie made some new films.
Do you think that's funny? Victor shot in cold blood, an agent dead or being tortured at this very minute?
I know Curtis is a difficult man. He doesn't always tell us everything.
I just don't believe he would collaborate with the Germans.
Sometimes he helps us, and sometimes he doesn't. Now, he gets his orders directly from London, but we never know what those orders are. In fact, we know very little about John Curtis, except the fact that he's here. Well, the Germans are here, too.
Let him find the traitor, if he can. Natalie should tell him what little she found out from Madame Victor, and we should give him all the help he requires.
So long as we make certain, one way or the other.
Once and for all. Are we all agreed, then?
Good night, Gerard, and thank you. Good night. Good night. If the agent talks, they'll be waiting.
I'll have to chance that.
Very well. We agree. Whenever you like.
I'll go tomorrow.
You'll need a gun.
If anything goes wrong, I don't want to be found carrying a gun. No thanks.
I have work to do. Natalie has some information for you. I wish you luck. Monique, put him up. It's on. Your holiday begins tomorrow.
Isn't that the one the agent was to have used?
Michael, yes. You superstitious?
No?
I shall miss you.
Will you?
Of course.
Then why am I going?
You're the only one who can be spared.
Still, I'm sure your wife will be pleased. You can sit and hold hands and talk about old times. That should calm her down a bit. Whew. Might even get a few days' peace.
Now, that's not the reason, and you know it.
Do I?
Yes.
Yes. I like John Curtis.
That won't stop you, I hope, should it prove necessary.
No, it won't.
I need to hire some transport, madame.
Impossible, monsieur. Out of the question. How far do you have to travel?
I'll be visiting the local farmers, Monsieur Moreau, to begin with, if you could direct me.
I might be able to arrange a bicycle, perhaps.
Straight away?
At once, monsieur, of course.
And if you can think of any way I can get hold of a car...
Oh, no, monsieur. The village taxi gets practically no petrol these days. Still, I will do my best. I'll see what can be done.
Thank you, madame.
Oh, thank you, madame. Your very good health.
And yours, Inspector. Is everything in order?
Oh, yes, yes. Mere routine. That's all, but these things have to be done.
I think you only come in for your glass of wine, Inspector.
You're absolutely right. You see through me, madame. This one's come a long way. A salesman all the way from Antwerp.
Monsieur Maurice, yes. He set off to call on Monsieur Moreau. I warned him it was all of 10 kilometers, but he said he was used to it.
I think I saw him riding off in that direction. On your bicycle, wasn't he, madame?
I offered to lend it to him. We all have to try and help each other in these difficult times, Inspector.
True, madame. True.
You are on holiday, mademoiselle?
Yes.
There's not much to do here for a young person like yourself. We get Parisian weekenders, of course, but they come for the fishing.
My doctor advised a few days' rest. Plenty of fresh air, he said, and lots of long walks.
We can provide those, certainly. You've been unwell, then?
Yes, but he doesn't think it's infectious anymore.
Let us hope not, mademoiselle. Yes, Hugh, what is it? I'm coming.
Where's my Harrisby jacket?
It's in your wardrobe.
No, not that one. The one I bought at Harrods last time we were in London.
It's in your wardrobe.
It's not. Look.
All right, I'll come and look.
Come in.
I'm not disturbing you, Monsieur Marius.
Not at all. What is it?
Well, I had a word with the taxi proprietor, Henri. My cousin, by chance.
Really?
He has a few litres of petrol in hand, which should be kept for authorised journeys. However, he said if your business was very urgent, it might be possible to come to some arrangement.
That's splendid. Would you mind if I drove it myself? I'd leave him a suitable deposit, of course. And something for yourself, for your time and trouble.
I don't suppose he'd mind at all. He's kept pretty busy. He's the blacksmith as well.
Thank you, madam. I had intended to make myself known to the inspector, but he seems to be busy with someone.
Oh, that will be Monsieur Neville. They always meet for a drink about this time.
Neville?
Oh, no, Monsieur. Neville. Mr. Hugh Neville. He's an Englishman.
Really? With his country still at war? You surprise me.
Mr. Neville has lived here for almost 10 years. He's our local celebrity. He's a well-known author. Not that I've ever been able to get on with his books. Too heavy for me, I'm afraid, but they say he's very well thought of.
Yes, I've heard of him. Inspector, my name is Marius.
Oh.
Will you join me in a drink?
Well, that's very good of you, monsieur, but I don't think I... Well, perhaps I do have time.
My credentials, in case you wonder who I am.
Oh, it's of no consequence.
I don't expect you get many strangers around here.
A few, from time to time. I would have hardly thought that fertilizer needed selling in these days of shortage.
I spend most of my time trying to explain to my customers why we can't supply what they want. But we do have a temporary surplus in this area at the moment, so rather than shipping it out to our other customers, we...
You're indulging in a little private enterprise, perhaps?
Our transactions are above board, Inspector.
Yes, perhaps.
Monsieur Moreau happened to mention that you grow your own vegetables.
Well, unfortunately, my wife is the expert there, and she's away with her parents. I know nothing about what sort of fertilizer to use. If it were left to me, I'd order weed killer. Excuse me.
If you show me your garden, I'd be glad to advise you.
Well, why not? Tomorrow.
Yes, I see. Now, you look after yourself. Mind you do. Good night, my dear.
Well?
Well, so far, he's spent...
Come on.
Good night, thank you. Good night, Natalie. So far, he's spent part of the time cycling around the countryside and the rest fraternizing with the local police inspector.
Well, how did they happen to meet?
Well, Monique says they seem to be on good terms. Perhaps they knew each other before. Or perhaps Curtis told the inspector he was coming, and why.
If If Curtis is playing a double game, she's in danger.
Well, beneath that shapely exterior, Monique's as hard as they come. She knows what she's doing.
Yes, but I think she allows friendship to influence her more than the rest of us do, if I may say so.
She's a loyal girl. She wants to believe in John Curtis, that's true. She has a soft spot for him. But if she finds out she's wrong, she'll have even less compunction than you would, Yvette.
Don't you want your breakfast, monsieur?
Please go ahead and serve it, madame. I shall be down in a minute.
Oh, of course, monsieur. Nature's coffee will you at all?
Looking for something? Did I interrupt you last night? Go ahead!
When did you know?
Good God, you people think I'm an amateur! If I couldn't spot when I was being followed, I'd be a dead man now, 10 times over.
All right. What now?
You tell me.
It was thought you might need someone to help you.
Thank you very much. That's all I need, a spy on my tail. I don't like this, Monique. It makes me angry.
And to report back when you've done it. Why should you object to that?
Whose idea was this, Albert?
It was agreed.
In case I wouldn't go through with it. Why? What gives your lot the right to check up on me?
We were worried.
So am I, permanently. I worry about being shot, getting caught, being tortured. So what's new apart from that?
How did the Germans know where that agent was going to land?
Oh, so it was me, was it? I wonder why. Oh, yes, of course, to stop him dealing with the man who betrayed Victor. And when I volunteered, it was just to do a cover-up to make sure whoever it was lived to a ripe old age.
No one's accusing you of anything.
You people give me a pain! You're the most miserable, cunning, suspicious shard I've ever come across.
Yes, I've noticed you prefer the French. Especially policemen.
It all adds up. I arranged for the Germans to sit and wait under Michael's parachute, did I? What do you know about navigating a plane in pitch darkness? The RAF have enough difficulty finding cities, let alone a dropping zone in open country. An agent's very lucky if he lands within miles of where he should. That's why we can't meet him. Don't you people ever think?
But the Germans were there just the same.
Probably by chance it happens.
And the inspector.
Country coppers know everyone. If I'd avoided him, he'd have been suspicious. All right, what were you looking for?
You came here to kill someone.
Once I made certain who it is, yes.
What with? Your bare hands? You've no gun, nothing.
I have, you know. Guns make a noise. They attract attention. We have a very good all-purpose grade, which should do the job nicely. A few kilos should be enough.
How much?
Let's just say it's a free sample, a present to your good lady.
And in return?
Nothing. If you're pleased, you might recommend me to your friend.
Well, if my wife likes it, she'll say so, believe me.
Good. So sorry.
That's all right. I was hoping to get that mended. Suppose I'll have to do it myself now.
Monsieur Moreau thought you had. Something about the man who fixed his barn, making off with some wood for it.
Oh, Victor, perhaps. Oh, yes, well, if so, he didn't get round to it. You heard about Victor?
No.
No, perhaps not. People don't talk about it. He met with an accident.
Serious?
Fatal.
I'm sorry. Was he a friend of yours?
No, not really. He was a surly old devil. And yet, I liked him somehow.
Is the car all right for this afternoon?
Henri is expecting you, monsieur.
And again tomorrow morning, very early. I might not be able to collect it myself, but if I could arrange for someone else to pick it up.
Speak to Henri, monsieur. I'm sure it'll be all right.
Thank you, madame.
Thank you, monsieur Maurice.
Who's that?
It's well after curfew. There's only one person it could be. Would you go, please? I don't want to see Inspector Dubois.
His name's Pierre. And it wasn't his fault.
Then whose was it?
Mr. Neville?
Yes?
I'm sorry to disturb you, but I was giving you your name. I need help.
You're English?
Stranded in France, Mr. Neville, like yourself.
Help? What you mean, help? And who gave you my name?
I used to get your books out of the public library in Leeds. I'd read all the Hemingway and Somerset Maugham I could lay my hands on. Then I discovered you, Neville. I never dreamt I'd ever meet you.
Who is it?
Mrs. Neville, good evening. My name's Robert Green.
An Englishman who wanders around after curfew with a suitcase.
It's a long story. Shall we talk here, or...
Now go in.
Thank you. I hate to intrude on you like this, but... Oh, is this where you work?
Yes.
Yes?
What is this, a new novel?
What do you want, Mr. Green?
Flight Lieutenant Green, actually.
You better sit down.
Thank you.
Can I get you something to eat?
No, thank you.
Coffee?
Nothing really.
What are you doing here?
Heading for Switzerland. I speak fluent French, so I'm traveling alone. I spent last night at a little hotel. Today I was supposed to meet someone who could take me across into Vichy, France. I waited, but they didn't turn up. By that time, it was night. I daren't walk around in the dark, so I need somewhere to stay.
How long for?
Overnight, that's all. I can make an alternative contact tomorrow morning.
There's a spare room, the bed's made up.
Just a minute, just a minute. How did you happen to knock on my door?
I had your name.
Who from?
We get given a whole list of people in different parts of France who might help.
I don't understand. There's no one new.
Knew what, Mr. Neville?
We helped a young RAF officer before.
Really?
But your people, your line, or whatever it is, wouldn't have known about that.
Perhaps someone put two and two together.
Remember, Hugh, that man who came here, perhaps he told someone.
Sorry, what man?
His name was Victor. He was supposed to take Flight Lieutenant Romsey to tour, but they got caught.
That was bad luck. What happened?
We're not sure.
It was the local police inspector, Pierre Dubois. They were doing house-to-house searches. Peter Romsey was hidden in the cellar. They didn't say anything at the time, but I suppose one of the policemen must have noticed something to make him suspicious, and they kept watch on the house.
You're guessing. You can't be certain of that.
That's what you said at the time. Why have you changed your mind? No one else knew.
Well, Victor could have said something to give himself away.
Or to get himself shot down in cold blood.
No, that was a German soldier.
And Pierre was responsible. And you just don't want to admit it, do you? I'm sorry. We've talked about this so much since it happened.
Yes, too much. We're raking over dead ashes. It's in the past. Nothing we say now is going to change anything, so forget it.
I can't forget it. I don't think I ever shall. I just can't share your kind of loyalty. See, my husband and the inspector have been friends for years.
If you're right, the inspector's been a very good friend to you both.
Why do you say that?
Being an escaper, that carries the death penalty, automatically, no question. If the inspector knew and yet did nothing, he must have had a very good reason indeed.
You sure you won't have a nightcap? Join me in a brandy?
All right, I'll keep you company, thank you.
My wife won't, I know that. It's a Leeds, eh? Or a Yorkshireman, like myself.
Are you?
Hugh was born in Bradford.
Is that so? I'd never have guessed.
Well, I leave all that. I'm just a plain chap like these stuff to Jack Priestley. Mind you, I had a right thick accent when I were a lad. Just like my father. He worked in the Borough Treasurer's Department. He was only a clerk, but he wore a bowler hat, and my mother always thought we were a cut above ordinary people and tried to imitate those she thought were her betters. Soon learned to detest all such petty bourgeois pretensions.
You sound rather like me.
Do I? Well, I was where the accent went when I joined the army. I should have been playing cricket for my school, but I was fighting on the Somme instead. Mud, filth, corpses. So many corpses, it was hideous. Your country needs you. I saw screaming men trying to hold in their own intestines.
Yes, your hatred of war comes through in your books.
Do you enjoy your war, Mr. Green?
I'm often afraid, which I don't enjoy. But on September the 3rd, 1939, what can we do? I don't see any alternative, do you?
I wonder how much war really changes human history. And who cares now about the 100 Years' War compared with the Renaissance or the invention of the printing press? In 500 years' time, historians may record this war as a tragedy, like the Black Death. But I doubt if they'll regard it as being right against wrong, any more than we now see the Crusades in that light.
If Hitler has his way, those historians will be living under the German Reich. He promises it'll last for 1,000 years, doesn't he?
All empires decay. Government is transient, human life goes on. And throughout history, most of mankind has lived under authoritarian and oppressive regimes.
You don't worry much about concepts like freedom and democracy, then?
England is now allied with Soviet Russia, a brutal dictatorship, which also uses words like freedom and democracy. The coinage is too debased for me. No, the world is going through a period of insanity, which it tries to camouflage by talk of ideals. Well, it's cant, Mr. Green, pure cant.
So what do you believe in?
The human spirit, if that doesn't sound too high-flown. No political party ever produced worthwhile music or painting, to my knowledge. Yet even under the most repressive forms of government, great art has still emerged.
Is that what you're doing? Producing great art?
One doesn't achieve that by intent. It either happens or it doesn't.
What's this book about?
No, he was asking me. Hugh hates anyone to read one of his books before he's finished it. What is it about?
Guilt and remorse, I suppose.
Is that a new theme?
I thought you knew my work, Mr. Green.
I've seen Regret and Grief, The Dead Boy, and Let's All Dance the Charleston. The wife he left behind in the green grasses over there. Not quite the same.
All right, you do know it.
Hugh was writing about his son and his first wife.
But there was a kind of acceptance of the inevitability of events. Guilt didn't come into it.
Do you never feel guilty about anything, Mr. Green? Do you never experience remorse?
In my trade, emotions like that are luxuries. I can't afford them.
Well, let's hope your emotional bank account is never overdrawn. Well, I'm keeping you up, I'm afraid.
It's been very interesting.
I'll show you to your room.
I won't trouble you, Mrs. Neville. I'd rather stay here if you don't mind. I should be perfectly comfortable.
You'll get a much better night's sleep in bed.
I don't expect I shall sleep much in any case. I'll just sit here if that's all right.
Well, if you're certain.
Quite. Thank you.
Well, I'll say good night.
Good night.
Why do you want to stay awake? You're expecting something to happen?
I don't know, Mr. Neville, and that's why.
Brought you some blankets. It'll be chilly when the fire dies down.
Thank you.
There's a cloakroom across the hall.
I saw it. New bookshelves?
Yes.
Nice wood oak, isn't it?
Yes.
Who put them up?
Victor, why?
Do you know what happened to him, Mrs. Neville?
Yes. I saw it.
Dorothy? You coming?
Yes. Good night, Mr. Green.
Good night.
Oh, shall I turn this light on?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Neville. Didn't you sleep?
Well, I thought you'd want to leave early.
Yes, but not quite yet. Is Mrs. Neville asleep?
Yes.
I've been reading your book.
So I see.
Interesting, your style when you write in French.
Do you always pry into private papers without permission when you're a guest in a man's house?
It's not as good. There was always a certain pessimistic weariness in your writing, but there was a kind of defiance as well. That's gone. This isn't defeated writing, it's defeatist. The world this portrays as no hope at all.
Well, I doubt if your standing as a literary critic is terribly high. You seem to be ready to leave. I suggest you do so.
It's a strange book. It starts off with a man and his mistress. We're not sure if he loves her, but he needs her. She wants a child, but he won't agree. New Neville country, in fact. Suddenly it changes direction. Oh, halfway through, a stranger appears. He seems to want very little. But then we learn he's escaped from a lunatic asylum. The mistress believes he's sane and helps him get away. The man informs the authorities. The stranger is caught at a roadblock, and an innocent driver crashes and is killed. That's as far as you've got. What happens to your hero in the end?
I don't deal in heroes.
I gathered from last night that you often use autobiographical material.
Well, sometimes as a starting point, no more.
What inspired this?
Imagination.
Victor was shot. Many men owe their lives to him. Flight Lieutenant Romsey was captured. From him, the Germans got details of the latest RAF bombing device, which might well have shortened the war. Whoever gave them away sacrificed more lives than one, Mr. Neville. You choose to live in France. French law is based on a presumption of guilt. That is the position you're in. If you can, convince me that it wasn't you.
Last night, I tried to believe that you were what you said you were, but I think I knew in my heart as soon as you walked in, Mr. Green. Or has your name changed with your accent? That you were something different. You're not like Peter Romsey, you're a different breed altogether.
You can't imagine.
Why don't you get breakfast, Dorothy? Mr. Green will be going soon.
It was Pierre. You know it was. What are you doing here? What right do you have to accuse my husband?
He's a heroic member of the resistance, I suppose. Or, from another point of view, a gangster and a terrorist. Take your pick.
You saw what happened.
Yes.
Tell me. Tell me, please, Mrs. Neville. I'd much rather believe that neither of you had anything to do with it.
Ah, you're under suspicion now, my dear, as well as me.
Victor made the arrangements with Peter Romsey.
Were they alone?
Yes. Peter told us later what he had to do.
Both of you?
Yes, both of us.
They were to meet in the wood. That's
yes, I know. Go on.
I went with Peter to show him the way. Victor would only come if it was safe. We waited for half an hour. Then Victor arrived. seemed to be nothing suspicious. I watched them ride off.
Did you see them get to the road?
No, I'd started walking back towards the house. I heard shots. And I ran back. Victor was lying in the ditch. Pierre was bending over him. There were German lorries on both sides. I came back and told Hugh. At first I'd wondered how they knew, and then I realized they must have been watching the house the whole time.
What do you say?
Oh, I was here. I saw nothing. But my wife is the most truthful person I've ever known. Whatever she says, you can believe.
I'd like to, but Victor was an old hand. If they were watching the house and tried to follow him, he'd have known. No, he'd have made sure the coast was clear, which means they weren't around then. They arrived. You said there were German lorries on both sides. Were they converging, coming from opposite directions?
Yes.
Mrs. Neville, that means they knew exactly where to cut Victor off.
But they couldn't have done. That's impossible.
Unless someone made a telephone call.
No.
Mr. Neville, it's time I left. I think it would be best if you came with me.
No, you stay there, please.
Hugh!
Telephone Pierre.
What?
Bring him.
No.
It's not working. I was interested to see if either of you would use it. The wire was cut last night.
Where did you get that gun? You never had a gun. You hate them. Where did it come from?
Inspector Dubois, I imagine. What did he say? You never know. They might send someone. I'll keep my eyes open, but have this just in case.
It was you. You told Pierre. You rang him after I left with Peter Romsey.
I had no choice. There was nothing else I could do.
No choice?
The night they searched the house, he made it clear that he knew.
He didn't know. His men didn't find Romsey, or they'd have taken him away.
All right, guess. Had a good idea. Whatever you like. Anyway, I'm not fighting your war. France has signed an armistice. I'm here. And if the French authorities demand my help, I must abide by the law.
We're not French. We're English.
France is our home. We could have been shot.
Victor was shot.
Pierre promised that no one will get hurt.
That promise he knew he couldn't keep.
A stupid soldier opened fire against orders.
Romsey would be treated as a prisoner of war, yes. But Victor was for the high jump. From the moment you did your civic duty and telephoned your friend, he died a bit earlier and a bit quicker, that's all.
Dorothy, go and get help. Please.
Hand another one over. I can't.
Don't you understand? He's come here to kill me. An eye for an eye, that's their creed. So hurry, for God's sake.
Thank you.
Why?
I didn't want to hear.
Don't make me, please.
It's not loaded. I didn't spend all night reading your book.
Who are you? Where's Henri?
I'm his niece. He sent me to collect something.
Please take me to the village. It's terribly urgent.
Get in.
What are you doing?
Get in! This is where you leave us, Mrs. Neville. Either watch where you're going or let me drive. We shall have about an hour before she gets back.
Plenty of time.
When does Henri expect you to return this thing?
Midday. I think he rather liked me. He even put some more petrol in.
He's not going to like you much come midday.
You!
Does it hurt?
No.
What happened?
When it came to the point, he fought like a cornered animal, like anyone else would have done. But you've only got my word for that, haven't you? You don't know. You weren't there.
I believe you. Besides, Mr. Neville's death will appear in the newspapers, I'm sure. Are you all right?
I feel sick. I've never killed a man before. You find that funny?
Yes. Before you were shot down, you dropped bombs on German cities.
Well, that's different.
Blowing up women and children with high explosives, that's all right, provided you're up there and you can't see it. But killing a man whose face you can see, that's not all right? Yes, I think that's fine.
Go to sleep. It's as well you were there. Thank you.
If I hadn't been, you'd have been obliged to kill her as well.
I liked her. I liked him, come to that. He was writing a book about guilt and remorse.
Was it a good book?
No. He asked me if I'd ever felt those things.
What did you say?
Well, I thought it was true, but it wasn't. I lied.
We all lie, sometimes. At least to ourselves. It's necessary to make things bearable. I think I will go to sleep now.